Good morning, pregame crew. It is Monday, December 12th, 2022, 8:23 a.m. Eastern, 6:23 a.m. Mountain Time. You're at the pregame show. This is a show where I rip through about 25 charts in 25 minutes, officially starting in 7 minutes. If you're tuning in later in the day, you may want to fast forward till this says 6:30. Down here in the far right corner, that's where I'll get started with indices, commodities, crypto, movers and shakers of the day, and it's my goal to get you ready for the trading day. Can I save you from yourself? No. Only you are responsible for pushing the buttons in your own risk management, but I will help you and just we'll lay out a structure together. How about that? So between now and 6:30, I'm going to say hello to my friends, do an audio visual check, and a few chart requests. Good morning, Andre. Hey, Night Truck, Topher, Lou, Gasson. I will do my best. Hey, Matthew, you are asking about the dollar today and not silver? Hey, Wave. Hey, Train Man, Lisa, Greg, Sam, Paul, Joe, Kaza, Jason, Casey, Derek, Bask. Hi, Joe, Sebro. Thanks, Wave and Night Truck. Hi, Eli. Hey, Mary. Hi, Joe. Thanks for that extra information. TMI. Hey, Josh, Chris. Hey, Michael. Yep, big week ahead. We have CPI and FOMC. Hey, Lee. Good morning, and Haley. Go back to the top. I think Matthew is first with UUP. Okay, 1 second. I need to look something up. And I lost the chat. Okay, UUP. So with the dollar, we're anticipating a daily lower high, but the dollar, actually, I'm going to look at that first, if that's all right, Matthew, because they're correlated. That's the ETF for the dollar. The dollar is getting lower lows, but the lower lows are failing to get lots of follow through. It's giving falling wedge vibes, even though I cannot technically, I could slap some trend lines on here and try to force it, but it does have that falling wedge behavior, meaning lower lows without a ton of follow through. And actually on Friday, we set a higher low. So we need to get through 105.822 and get over that daily 200 MA in order to get some progress. I think a bottom fish down here makes sense. Very prudent against 28.20. This is the slowest moving asset. And if you want to trade this with options, you're going to fall asleep. It's going to bore you to death because it moves so slow. Now, the FOMC this week, it could have a little more giddy up in its step, but I like a bottom fish against 28.23, looking for that 28.20 to hold. Okay. Good morning, Rivian for Paul. That's giving falling wedge vibes as well. It's red where other names are green, so it definitely has relative weakness in pre-market. 25.80, 25.95 hourly double bottom. I actually like a bottom fish of that level on a pullback if the market continues to bounce, because this really does have that psychology of a falling wedge. But don't get it twisted. Bears are in charge of this chart on the, let's go back. On the weekly, they're in charge. On the daily, they're in charge. On the 4 hour, they're in charge. On the hourly, they're in charge. You feel me? So bears are in charge of this chart, but I like the risk to reward of bottom fishing Rivian. All right. ENVX. For Derek. Made a new low last week. Daily downtrend. Weekly downtrend. 4 hour attempting an EQ. What's the liquidity on this? It's good. All right, so your low of Friday was 11.59. You're going to want to hold that. Odds favor a lower high compared to 12.34, the high of Friday. So bears, the setup here would be, for me, top fishing at 12.34. And some of these, if I'm giving you setups like Rivian or NV long or NVX short, when you ask me about it, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes saying, why are they looking at this? What direction is the most logical direction to look? It doesn't mean it's a high conviction trade for me. I'm not going to trade this today. It's not a high conviction trade top fish. If you're in it, you're looking at it and you see something different than I do, great. but that's the only way I'd be looking at this name. It doesn't mean I'm going to take that trade. Docu, they had earnings last week. Daily higher high, could be a megaphone. Here. Dan and Jason, they only connect trend lines to all greens or all reds. I don't draw my trend lines like that. I'm okay with mixing the colors, but I'm also looser with it because I don't trade trend lines for the most part. If they are an extra data point, great. But I typically don't trade just trend lines, so that's why I'm not super legalistic about how I slap them on. So potential megaphone, know that. Hourly RSI has cooled off. 4 hour has cooled off. Bears will be looking to top fish Friday's high, and bulls will be looking to bottom fish this 48.91. Good morning. You're welcome. We'll get started in 1 minute. Package software. Any name you see is red while the market, you see ES here is green. Any name that you see is red in pre-market, which it doesn't look like it's traded anything in pre-market, just know that you are, it's a relative underperformer. Yeah, no trades have happened on pre-market. So it closed red on Friday. Low of 399.28. What a messy daily chart. Weekly. We closed last week with an inside bar. That's why that daily is so messy. So we're confined to this range for now. I like the idea of potentially bottom fishing a 4 hour high or low. So this name I would like to the long side. Again, not a high conviction trade for me. All right, y'all ready to get started? If y'all could hit that like button, there are about 170 of you and only 50 likes. If you could get that to 100, that would surely recharge me this morning and get me going with the show. Because I'm going to rip through about 25 charts in 25 minutes. This is who I am. I'm Chart Gal Lori. I'm part of the Chart Guys community, and we teach technical analysis. If you want to give me a follow on Twitter, that would be greatly appreciated, at Chart Gal Lori. And what I do here every morning is I go over the indices, commodities, crypto, movers and shakers of the day. Awesome, RJ. I'm glad you got it. Jeff, you're funny. Okay, so we have somewhat of a confusing morning, so I want to show you why it's confusing. If you look here on ES, so right now ESH23 is active. So that is the first quarter contract for 2023. We just flipped the volume. Did I not? Oh, there it is. The volume, 219,000 contracts. So as of today, the volume shifted from December's contract to March 2023 contract for futures. So it presents a problem. Now we have this big contango or separation from price between ES and ESZ and the continuous contract. We have a separation. I am finding the most clarity on ESZ. If you are trading ES, purely ES today, it is my opinion that you need to stay on the contract you're trading. So if you're trading Z, then stay on Z, but keep the continuous contract or the March one pulled up. Keep that one pulled up because you have traders, half of your traders are looking at ESZ and half are looking at ESH. And there's a significant difference between the two and the technicals. Let me show you. So here's the hourly chart. Where's the 50 MA? Up at 39.56. We're pretty far away from it, right? If you go look at ESH, we're right on that hourly 50 MA. It's a problem. If we look at ES on the daily, the bounce Friday was enough to negate the bear flag. Not so fast on ESZ22. So let me take this other fib off so you can see this. Do you see that we are still in a potential daily bear flag on ESZ? This carries the most weight for me, and this is the contract I'm going to stay on today while constantly referencing the regular ESH or ES continuous contract. So just know a daily bear flag is still in play. If you look at ESH, it is very deceiving. Back here is trading on very low volume. Beginning of December, November, very low volume. And then all of a sudden volume shifts. Today is the first day where it shifted forward, and it's still showing that we're not in a potential bear flag situation and we have enough room for a higher low. So I'm not trying to confuse anyone who doesn't trade futures. If you trade futures, I think you need to be acutely aware of this. If you don't trade futures, don't worry about it. Maybe just stay on the SPY chart itself. So we have that daily megaphone, we have the potential daily bear flag, and then look what else developed overnight. And you're going to pick up in just a few seconds, you'll pick up that I have a pretty strong bear bias for the day. And I catch myself when I say bias versus thesis. I have a bear thesis for the day, but I notice myself looking at every chart from a bear perspective first. That's a problem. I should approach every chart neutrally and let the chart show me what it's doing. Is it bullish or is it bearish? So when I look at my table, so I have a bear position right now. Just so you know, I am in ESZ short. And I am careful because I know this expires Thursday. So if you want to trade ESH, that makes sense as well. We have 110 points racked up on the bear side versus the bull side of 22.5 points. And this is an arbitrary, subjective chart. So the weightings are arbitrary. They're based on my particular trading experience. And the actual how I check bull or bear, that's subjective depending on what time frame I'm looking at. Am I looking primarily at ES? Am I looking primarily at NQ? Let me see if I can pull up something else I did this weekend. Here it is. So this is what I did this weekend. I changed this up and I made it primarily a weekly view table, looking at the moving averages for just on the weekly perspective. Every once in a while, I'd let the 4 hour kind of creep in a little bit if it was pretty compelling argument. But as you can see here, I need to add price patterns. I didn't see price patterns on any other, on NQ or RTY, so I left them off. But overall, I have a bear thesis for the week, and then if you look at shorter term time frames, I have a bear thesis for today. Now I'm ready to be wrong, and I accept being wrong so quickly. Oh, that reminds me, what did Dan post the other day? I thought it was brilliant. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Is that not a perfect quote for traders, or what? You have to be very responsive to change, very receptive, almost just welcome it. Come on, change my mind, show me. So on the 4 hour, we have a potential bear flag. On the daily, we have a potential bear flag. On the daily, we're expecting a lower high. On the 4 hour, we're expecting a lower high. On the hourly, we've possibly made enough room for a higher low, not guaranteed. Bulls are pushing, but they're still underneath the hourly 50 MA. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are you catching what I'm throwing? NQ. Same problem. Potential 4 hour bear flag in play on the daily. And I know we're layered over, so let me go back to the 4 hour. So on this 4 hour chart, we have a potential bear flag as long as we stay below 11,608.75. Okay, I'm going to get rid of those fibs. Now look at the daily. Also a potential bear flag. We do have the megaphone pattern that could be in play, but it's not enough when I have a daily bear flag, a 4 hour bear flag. I'm not going to say, oh, that megaphone trend line is going to save me. No, that's not how it works. So yes, we have a trend line below us, but I'm not saying that it could save us. We do have the daily 50 MA in that area, and we have support at 11,422.50. On the hourly, your resistance is 11,617, support 11,522. On ESZ, your next resistance is up at 3,966, your support 3,930. Yes, it's okay to use SPX. SPX is tracking ESZ more closely than it is ESH. Yes, it's okay to use SPX. Hi. Hey, Casey, did you submit your TradingView username? So if not, if you could post in either beginner questions, or you can email us at support@chartguys.com, and we will get you set up with that indicator. So sorry you haven't gotten it yet. Sometimes folks gave us their email address instead of their TradingView username. All right, so let's go back to this. Before I get too deep into the indices, I just want to make sure I covered everything. Is there anything nuance I wanted to point out? XLF is in an hourly EQ, so I gave it no rating. So you feel free to rate it however you want on the daily, the weekly, the 4 hour, the hourly. I felt like it was neutral enough that I stayed away from it and I didn't check it off. Okay, back to resistances. RTY. Y'all see that potential 4 hour bear flag right there? Y'all see it? Okay, so we're bearish on a ton of time frames for RTY. Maybe a ton is a slight exaggeration, but we do have a lot. Support at 1795, 1791, resistance at 1818. Oh, thank you, Casey. I'm sorry about that. Okay. YM, potential 4 hour bear flag. You see it? Do you see it? It's on every chart. That has me, I'm small ES bearish this morning. I'm bear trade, and I will be looking bearish at open, but I may wait 15 to 20 minutes to actually put a trade on, let things settle down. There is a saying, and I think it's been proven statistically, that there's a saying that beginners open the market and professionals close it. How a candle closes is super important. How it opens, not so much. So a lot of times beginners are just ready to push buttons. And one of my favorite things when I used to mentor, I don't have time now to mentor, I would always say, do you want to push buttons more than you want to make money? And let me tell you, get that tattooed on your body. Do you want to push buttons more than you want to make money? No. Don't just start pushing buttons just to trade. Wait for a high conviction trade to hit you between the eyes. You wake up every morning a retired trader. A high conviction trade has to pull you out of retirement. Pull you out of retirement. So you have to view it that way or like that, and it'll help set you up for success. I'm going to drink a little water. Hourly EMAs are overhead. The Dow is just super weak, and the Dow led us here. Now I'm going to get rid of everything and remind you of what's going on the weekly. Again, I don't trade trend lines. I have to trade price action. But dang, if this ain't the cutest little trend line you ever did see, that's clean. Even I could draw that top line clean. That is super clean. So I am looking bearish YM. I have been flipping DIA bearishly, and I've been posting my trades in our chat room. This DIA chart, perfect, perfect, perfect. Broadening formation, and we have this upper trend line resistance. So I've been shorting it, and I will continue to short it on bounces as long as it's working. All right. VIX, now VIX rolled over. It rolls over this week as well. And it is my opinion, I am not a backwardation contango expert. I'm not. Joey Jungle Funk in our room, he's really knowledgeable about it. I am not an expert. I know when something's off. I can tell when there's futures not matching up. And I'm telling you, this gap up is most likely related to futures rollover. So I'm totally disregarding VIX. And if you see here, I didn't check off anything for VIX because I don't think it's readable at the moment with this gap up when we're green on the markets. It doesn't compute. Hey, thank you, Chris and Joe. Y'all hit that like button. We have 300 of you here and only 100 likes. I think we can get it to 150. All right, back to, okay, this was a 12 hour. Okay, so this has me, when I look at every chart or almost every chart and arrive at the same conclusion, that's just more conviction for me for this bear thesis. Look at this US 10-year. This is a cute little inverse head and shoulders forming, unconfirmed, but forming. So we've been watching the dollar and US 10-year just dribble down right down here under the 8 EMA. Well, something shifted Friday, and we had some bull momentum in US 10-year. And then look at tilt. Look at what happened to TLT. It got slammed Friday while the US 10-year was bouncing. I mentioned the US 10-year down here. I actually mentioned it. October 19th was the first time I went back and looked at my post. It was the first time I mentioned TLT. It took a few more days to bottom, but man, did it have a bounce. TMF bounced 44% from October 19th to this high. And TMF is 3 times ETF for TLT, just an FYI. Okay, so US 10-year is slightly bullish. Hang Seng closed down 2.2 and DAX closed 0.4. So not closed, it's not closed, sorry, it's down 0.4. So I did red, and I also changed my weightings here. And I reserve the right to change the weightings as I see things diverge. Now, Hang Seng has had a lot of red days, and it had some crazy bull days because of the COVID news. It's like hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. So we haven't been matching up with Hang Seng as much over the last 6 weeks because they have headlines they're subject to that we're not subject to. So I decrease the weighting that I give Hang Seng and DAX and how they're impacting us. Okay, Bitcoin's still a weekly bear flag. Hey Joe, I'm sorry the Nightbot deleted your comment. Great stuff. When you use multiple exclamation points, it's just a very sensitive, and it also doesn't like curse words, but I really appreciate your kind words and I appreciate you being here. Okay, Bitcoin's still a weekly bear flag. I mean, at this point, I should be able to go off this chart. So I'm going to go to the spreadsheet. What is the weekly bear flag resistance for Bitcoin? We should all know it by now. I shouldn't have to even pull up the chart. If you trade Bitcoin, you should know 17759. You should know it. And you could just say 17800, whatever makes it easier for you. But we've got a bear flag still in play on the weekly. And guess what? We got a bear flag in play on the 4-hour. Do you see how everything keeps lining up in the same direction? And Bitcoin, we decreased its weighting as well because we diverged from the indices when we had all the FTX madness and crypto bearishness. The market kind of disconnected from Bitcoin a bit, and I decreased that weighting. I know, that darn Nightbot. Slow Devil Toss isn't messed up for me. Let me just go check again. No, it looks fine for me. Okay, so we have a potential 4-hour bear flag as well. Let me give you those resistances. Hourly, 1,25723 on Ethereum. Support 1,240. Bitcoin resistance is $17,009. Let's call it $17,010. Support 16,903 and 16,875. Hey, Bennett. Well, now the party can get started. Bennett's in the house. I am glad you're here, and I want you all to find whatever morning routine works for you. I can't tell you how happy I am that you're here, but if listening to me talk about charts starts clouding your own technical analysis and trying to achieve your own how you deduce and what your flow chart looks like and what your conclusions are, then take a break from me. Take a break. That you may need to. And I know that we have members that don't listen to Dan in the morning because they may like a trade to the bullish side. If he says anything bearish, they back off that idea. You have to work on your own conviction muscle, and it's like going to the gym. You start with 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds. You keep working your way up, and then that muscle builds. And with conviction, it's very important if you're a newer trader to listen to what other people say, but yet take time to think. That sounds so ridiculous, but it's so true. Make time to think. This pregame show, I am forced to think for a few hours before the market opens as to what are my conclusions for the day? What are the setups I'm watching? What could change? What could debunk my thesis? So you have to allow time to think. You're not here, or you shouldn't be here for just straight handouts. If I give you a setup and you like it and you say, okay, let me run that through my brain and how I trade. Oh, that makes sense. Good setup. Thanks for throwing me a fish. And if you put it through your brain and your trading style, whoa, that's not my trading style at all. I'm not taking that trade. You have to be able to use your own brain, your own conclusion, your own style and risk management profile. Gold, man, I was bearish on gold last week. We're stuck at this 50 MA. We're opening up inside last week's range. And Friday, I was pointing out that we had a top fish set up here. against 1822. We had a top fish setup looking for a daily lower high as we're trapped under the weekly 50 MA, scouting a monthly lower high. Y'all want me to do that again? Let's do it. Okay, Friday I was looking, I'm looking for a potential daily lower high because of the size of this pullback. And the reason I'm looking short is because we're looking for a monthly lower high as we're trapped under the weekly 50 MA, approaching resistance of 1822. And then on the 4 hour, we had this big push up and we got overbought on the hourly. Do you see how all of that lines up? Boom, 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 boom. So with trading thesis or setups, you should be able to trace down from the monthly all the way into the shorter term time frame and why you're looking at what you're looking at and what is the most likely scenario. Looking at what the most likely scenario is the game changer that most of our traders in our room, that's what's changed their trading from losing or staying net even to actually making money, is applying the theory of what is the most likely scenario. All right, so on gold, resistance 1807, support 1796. And I'm also, when I have this in my brain and I'm going through gold weekly, I'm also thinking, man, the dollar had some bounce going on Friday, and it could be a daily falling wedge. If the dollar were to break to the upside, that would be bearish gold. So I'm pulling in all of these different data points. CPI tomorrow, FOMC Wednesday, the dollar will, I'm not even going to pretend like it's 99.9% chance it will impact the dollar and it will impact gold. So just know that if you're trying to swing something, this is probably not the week to swing gold or anything related to the dollar. And if you're initiating any swings in anything for that matter, I would size down this week because you have a lot of risk exposure with these binary events. Okay, I'm gonna drink a little water. All right, I'm looking at my notes. I have some notes off screen and I write down everything I'm thinking, and the point is to keep me on track. And when I'm done, I copy and paste those notes for TCG members. When I'm done, almost at 150 likes. Come on, 6 more. Hit that thumb. If you've already hit the thumb, don't hit it again or it'll take it away. And hit the subscribe button. I think our channel puts out a ton of free content compared to others, and I think it's some great value. Just hit that subscribe button. All right. So on gold, 4 hour lower high, the more likely scenario, and a potential 4 hour bear flag, just like indices. Oil is trying, I guess you give it an A for effort, but it's not over the 4 hour resistance, that EQ. Let me go back. That's probably the clearest time frame. Right here, this resistance is 72.32. It's attempting to get over that, but we have lost monthly support, weekly support, daily support. We're stuck inside last Friday's range to be exact. We have API estimates tomorrow. So if you wanted to buy a pullback for a potential higher low relative to 70.25, that would make sense to me. But just know bears have lots of momentum on this chart. I think we were approaching oversold on the daily, not quite there. And we're trying for a daily double bottom. Nat gas gapped up. I am bearish NG. So that is a dangerous, dangerous thesis up here. With the Widowmaker, they call it naughty gas or the Widowmaker because it kills traders, blows up their account. So just know that if you're a futures trader and you've never traded NG and you want to trade it, I would paper trade QG. The contract size is smaller and the tick size is smaller. But we're gapping up into the daily 200 MA, looking for a daily lower high, looking for a potential weekly lower high, and looking for a potential monthly lower high. So I know all of those data points. So this will be a dangerous game. I'm in a short right now, and my entry's not that great. It's about 691. And I'm putting my stop over the high of last night. I'm actually putting my stop around 710. So I'm currently in a nat gas short, and it is a high risk short. I have 2 contracts, so I will cover one quickly or soon for profit, and then I'll let the other one play out or stop out. Very dangerous trade, super dangerous trade. I think I did enough qualifiers on that. What did I write on? I wrote a lot on Apple. Because Apple's the most important, I really stop and reflect on Apple, and I keep flipping back on the time frames to make sure I'm catching all the nuances because it's so important to the market. We're forming second monthly inside bar in a weekly EQ. This will likely break this week with a volatile week ahead. Daily rejected 50 MA overhead, 4-hour lower high anticipated. So you see these yellow candles, those are inside bars. If you're interested in my chart setup, you can click on the link below in the video description to receive a PDF explanation as to what all these colors mean. So as you can see, we're holding the monthly 50 RSI. That's going to be important moving forward. So we're stuck inside November's range, November stuck inside October's range, and now this weekly EQ tightens. This tells me how pivotal this week is. Do y'all see that? Apple is going to tell us a lot, give us a lot of information this week. 140 needs to hold. 140 must hold. We hit 140 last week and 140.35 the week before that. 140 must hold. Every time we tap on that support, we're depleting that inventory below, that buy block at the bottom, and we're just depleting. And then there's going to be no more money or no more interest from buyers at 140. They're going to say, well, crap, if I can get it cheaper, closer to 134, why would I buy at 140? So we rejected right there at that daily 50 MA. You see that wick down? So I'm looking for a lower high on the 4-hour compared to 145.57, and I like that for a top fish today. Amazon, I like a top fish. So we had a Friday, a daily inside bar here. 90.30 is your resistance, 88.63 is your support. But I like a top fish of that level right there, 89.97. I don't even know if we're going to get there today. We're trapped under all hourly moving averages. NVIDIA, I like it for a top fish. Go figure. We rejected right there at the daily 200 MA. Now the market's coming in a little bit. So I'm looking for a 4-hour lower high compared to Friday's high. And we have a little bit of a rising wedge type action on NVIDIA. I like Netflix's a little bit better. So you'll see I have Netflix up here because I'm looking for a bear trade here. Cold for my 401, my IRA, I'm looking for a nat gas short here. Very, 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 very dangerous. And coin, I'm looking for a short. If we break $40 psychological level, that would be a pure breakdown because we hit 40 last week. 40.15. So I'm looking for a breakdown of coin to all-time lows. Okay, Tesla. Relative strength. It needs to hold these hourly EMAs in order to stay strong, but I still like a top fish against 182.50. As y'all can see, we got the same theme going on. I lost my chat. I did want to pull this up for y'all. That's why I had it pulled over here. I posted this in chat earlier. Bloomberg tweeted this out. I wanted to show you Coop has an acquisition. WEBR will be taken private. HZNP has an acquisition. So we had a lot of acquisitions this morning. So I actually did a little arbitrage on HZNP. It's being bought for $116.50. And the deal ain't closed, so the deal's closed. But I like that it was laggard a little bit. So I bought $110.90. So I'm up $1, almost $1 on this. I won't be a pig about it because, again, $116.50 is the buyout price, but that's not a guarantee that it will actually close. You can always have all kinds of hiccups. But I did want to show you here that with biotechs, so we have Amgen with that biotech deal. We have this biotech deal. We have, I don't know what this news here with APBO. So I would be a very cautious XBI bear with all this positive news. Okay. Good morning, Sam and ER. All right, so let me go back. I lost my train of thought. AMD, you guessed it, top fish setup. I like it. A top fish setup against 70.67. Knowing what I know about NVIDIA and SMH, I like this play. Coin, I like the breakdown of $40. Toss doesn't have any shares to short on coin. It drives me crazy, so I usually wait for open for puts. Netflix, I like a top fish setup. This is a kind of somewhat dangerous one. Do you see how the daily is making higher highs? They're not getting a lot of follow through, but I've had this on my chart for all of last week, I believe, this daily rising wedge. So I like a top fish setup of Netflix. Do we have an intraday level we can use? Sure. 325.27. I actually gave this top fish setup idea in while I was live on Friday right here when price was around 328. I gave this top fish idea and it worked out pretty well. Okay, finally, XLF. I'm pointing out this hourly EQ. Dan pointed out this morning, and I completely agree. This is going to be a pivotal chart for the day, how this resolves to the upside or the downside. My bias is to the downside, obviously. So we're trapped under the hourly 50 MA, the Great Wall of Louisiana. Can't get over it, and bears are looking to top fish 34.78. All right, so my Queen of the Mountain trades are the most dangerous volatile one I've ever given out is Nat Gas short. And there's a high probability it won't work because it's counter trend, but I like the clear resistance overhead that we stop out fast if we're stupid and made a bad trade. I am short ES. That is my other Queen of the Mountain trade. What was my other high conviction? Coin short and Netflix top fish. I would say those are my favorite trades for the day. All right, do y'all have a chart request? I think Jason will be live. Yeah, Jason will be live in 1 minute. I'll do one chart request. Coin. $40.02. See, I'm not good with targets because I want the trade to just keep playing out as long as it's working. So I'm not a big target person, but let's see what I can get for you. Wrong way. That's going to be a ridiculous number. Yeah. One second, I want to give you a target. 38.10 would be the first target at the 1.272 extension. 38.10 would be the first target. I just like to take profit as soon as I can on a portion of scale. That way I keep myself green and then move my stop on the remainder and then just keep letting it work. Play out or stop out. Okay, I'm not going to do SOXL. I'll do SMH. Remember, SOXL is a 3 times ETF or ETN of SMH. So I'd rather look at SMH in order to trade SOXL or SOXS because it has lots of decay. We're trapped under the daily 200 MA, looking for a 4-hour lower high compared to the high of Friday, 224.04. So I would prefer SOXS on a bounce up. I'd want to short SMH here, so I would look for SOXS as we bounce and potentially approach Friday's high. All right, that's it for me. Thank y'all for being here. Hit that like button. Give me a follow on Twitter @ChartGalLori. I hope I helped you today, and this cracked me up this morning because it's so true. We got to get that bread, y'all, this week. These Christmas lists are ridiculous. According to my kids, they think I move bricks for El Chapo, and it's so true. Some of our kids are so ridiculous, and the other ones are so sweet. They ask for a toaster. So, all right. Love you all. Use stop losses. Be smart out there.